Alrighty guys, so for today's online lesson, we're going to be learning about solving equations with variables on both sides. So far you have been solving equations where you've only had a variable on one side of the equation. Well, today we're going to look at different examples where we have them on both sides of the equation, okay? Couple things to make note of. First of all, when getting like terms on the same side of the equation, because that's what you have to do here. You need to get like terms together. I always take the smaller number, okay, so the smaller coefficient of your variable and take that one over to the other side. So I'll show you what I mean when I'm doing these examples. But again, when you're looking at your variables, always take the smaller coefficient, so the smaller number in front, and take it to the other side. So if we look at the first example, I'll show you what I mean. We've got a plus 5 equals negative 5a plus 5. Okay, so what I would do in this situation is look at what number is in front of your variable. Here is a negative 5. Over here, if there's nothing there, remember it's like a 1. Well, negative 5 is smaller than 1. So I'm going to take this negative 5a, and I want to get it to the other side of the equation so I combine my like terms. To do that, you have to do the opposite of what's in front. So since this is a since it's a negative 5a, I want to add 5a to both sides. Like so. Okay? So then when you do that, a positive and a negative 5a become a 0. 1a plus a 5a is a 6a. And you still have your plus 5, so you'll bring that down. Bring down your equal sign, and left over here is just a 5. So now we have 6a plus 5 equals 5. And now we're to just a regular two-step equation like you guys have been doing the last few days. So we want to get a by itself. Therefore, we need to first subtract 5 from both sides. When we do that, you get a 6a. This becomes 0, and this also becomes 0. So you have 6a equals 0. Okay, so now our last step is to divide both sides by 6. Because we're trying to get a alone. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so you're just left with a. 0 divided by anything is 0. So a would be 0. Okay, so that is example 1. You can always check your answers by taking whatever you find a to be. So since we found a to be 0, and plugging it back into your equation. If you get a true statement, you know you did it correctly. So you can always check your answers if that's something you want to do. Okay, so that's example 1. Let's take a look at example 2. Example 2 is a little different. So with example 2, we have the equation p minus 1 equals 5p plus 3p minus 8. Okay, your first step here, guys, the first thing you have to do here is you need to combine like terms on the same side first. So you want to take this 5p and this 3p and combine those. Okay, so you'll just add those together. So we're going to keep the p minus 1 on this side. And now instead of a 5p plus 3p, you have an 8p minus 8. Okay, so now we have p minus 1 equals 8p minus 8. So again, at this point, figure out what your smallest coefficient is. Well, in this situation, we have an 8 in front of our p and a 1. 1 is definitely smaller than 8, so I'm going to subtract a 1p from both sides of my equation. Okay, so when I do that, p minus p is 0, and we still have a negative 1 here. Bring down your equal sign. And 8p minus p is a 7p. and then bring down your -8 or your -8. Okay, so now once again, you're down to just a normal two-step equation. So from here, you're going to want to add this 8 to both sides because it's a -8, so you want to add 8 to both sides. -1 plus 8 is 7 equals 7p because these cancel. And then last but not least, you want to divide both sides by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. That's a 1. So p equals 1. So that is your answer for example 2. So the thing to remember here, guys, is why we want to do example like this. If you have like terms on the same side of the equal sign, so like up here, you just combine them like normal. You actually add them together. When they're on opposite sides of the equal sign, that's when you need to get them to the other side, so you have to subtract the p over. All right, so make sure you remember that you understand the difference there. So that is example 2. Now let's take a look at examples 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are actually two specific situations that I want to talk about, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. So starting with example 3, we've got -24a minus 22 equals 4 times 1 minus 6a. So the first thing you're going to want to do here is distribute your 4. All right, so when you do that, you keep the -24a minus 22, and that now equals 4 times 1, which is 4, and 4 times -6 is -24a. Okay? So once you've done that, again, you want to get like terms on the same side of the equation. So you want to take this -24a and get it on the other side. So you're combining like terms. But as you notice, something kind of weird is about to happen. Over here, your 24a's cancel, and same thing over here. So you're just left with a -22 equals 4. There's a problem here. -22 definitely does not equal 4. Those are two different numbers. So this situation is not true. Whenever you get a statement like this, a -22 equals 4, anytime you have something that is not true, that means that you have no solution. So you would just write no solution here. If you cannot get any kind of solution, so your variables all cancel out and you get an untrue statement, your answer is there is no solution. Okay, so that's one specific situation that can happen with variables on one side. You can have a situation where you get no solution. Example 4 is another specific situation. Okay, and again, what you want to start off by doing is distributing your 3. So you take 3 times x, which is 3x. 3 times -2 is a -6, equals this 3x minus 6. Right now, you might be able to notice that these two equations are the exact same thing. And whenever this happens, you're always going to end up with this exact same answer, and I'll show you what it is. Every single time, whenever you have two equations that are the exact same, so two expressions that are the exact same, you're going to get the same thing every time, and I'll show you what happens. So if we start by getting like terms on the same side, so we're going to take a minus 3x, minus 3x. When you do that, these cancel, so you get a -6 equals, these cancel, -6. Well, guess what? -6 does equal -6. That is a true statement. Since this is a true statement, okay, so since it's a true statement, that means your answer is all solutions. So since you got negative 6 equals negative 6, which is true, that means your answer is all solutions. So anytime you have two expressions that are the exact same on each side of the equal sign, you can always stop right there and tell me all solutions, because that's going to happen every single time. Okay, so that's all for variables on both sides. After you're done with this video, you have another Canvas check. So make sure you get that done. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye.